You're listening to the Happy Workaholic podcast. I'm your host, Kellyanne Gorman. This show was once about business, LinkedIn, and my life with an autoimmune disease. And then one day I found out I was misdiagnosed, so I had to switch things up a bit. Life is so short, and when you're given a second chance, you better believe I'm going to take it, celebrate it, and share it with you. I'm on a mission to help women take their business and life to that next level they deserve to be at. This show is intended to elevate your mind, upgrade your business, enhance your life, and become part of a positive and uplifting community. Inspiration, motivation, and determination are what got me to where I am today, and I cannot wait to share these amazing stories of other female entrepreneurs who will be featured on the show. If you have a story or brand you want to share, send me a message on Facebook and Instagram today. You can find me at The Happy Workaholic. I would love to connect with you. Do you want a live chat during this episode? Make sure you're listening on iHeartRadio. I'm here to remind you to work hard, stay humble, follow your dreams, and never, ever give up. Thanks for taking the time to subscribe to the Happy Workaholic podcast. And now let's get into today's show. Today's episode is brought to you by Your Podcast Production. Have you been wanting to launch your own podcast but not sure where to begin? Is time the only thing holding you back? Maybe you're already recording but need somebody to guide you through the production process. Do you have a message that needs to be heard? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I have just the program for you. Your Podcast Production designs, coaches, produces, and aligns you and your brand to have a successful, enjoyable, and profitable podcast. After launching my own show, I had so many women reach out to me and ask me how I did it. So what did I do? I created something I wish existed. There are many ways to create and launch a podcast, and you want to make sure you do it right from the very beginning. I believe that keeping it simple, organized, and original is the most effective and efficient way to go. Are you ready to start the process? Are you ready to learn more? Visit yourpodcastproduction.com today. Hey everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode for the I Chose This Life series. Today I have another very special guest, another female boss in the online digital space, and her name is Monica Burgat, and she is a business and mindset coach at the Freedom Guild, which is the name of her business online. You can check her out. And Monica, are you here?
I'm here.
Welcome to the series.
Yay, thank you so much for having me on.
Of course. We've been wanting to do this forever, so now that it's July, here we are.
Right? We've been crazy with our busy schedules, but we made it work.
I know. Can you tell me a little bit about how you started the Freedom Guild and how you got into business and mindset coaching?
Yes, I've actually been an entrepreneur for almost 10 years. I have a 9-to-5, which I also own. I own a printing and direct mail company. And so I've been doing that for almost 10 years now. And over the years, I've kind of been a short version of my story, exploring other options to help out other women. I did direct marketing or direct sales for a while. I owned an online women's boutique, and I've just been kind of exploring other ways that I could help women. And those options were great, and they were fun, and they were successful for me, but it really wasn't like fulfilling my passion. I knew I wanted more. I knew I wanted to help women do more. And so I just started talking to women about opening their own businesses and what it meant to be an entrepreneur. And I've always been obsessed and very curious about the law of attraction and manifesting stuff into your life. And so I really applied those principles as well. And so I just turned it into something that I absolutely love doing. I love focusing on helping people get their minds right to live the best version of themselves, not just in their life, but also in their business.
I love that. And I love that you also own another business, because I think that's really important. And it actually adds another element into how you coach your clients, because you're coming from a different aspect of running another business as well. And I think that's so great to have that experience. And then in order to, help other women do better in their own career and business, especially if they're launching something new.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of walking the walk, and I just think that in order to tell people how to run a business, that you actually need to have that experience for yourself.
Exactly.
And I really credit that to like probably a lot of success that my clients has had, because not only have I owned businesses, but it's been for a long time now. So I feel like I can give them a pretty good insight on what it takes.
And you grew up in a family business too, right?
Yes, my mom, actually, she is a franchisee owner of Domino's Pizza. So she is also a small business owner. Some people look at businesses like that and they think it's corporate, but I feel like that I had the entrepreneur spirit since I was younger. And so I really grew up coming from that perspective of a small business owner and learning about a lot of stuff from a young age too.
I love that. And I did as well. And I feel like once it's in your blood and you just see things happening at a younger age, you just like crave it more and you want to like change the world and do all these exciting things. But you start off at a younger age, like just seeing things, especially at a business, and when you're in the business and somebody else working it that you're with every day, that you see these things that not everybody else gets to see.
Right. And it's not just that, it's the whole mindset aspect of it. My mom always told me, you know, you don't have to go to college. There's more to life than working 9 to 5. You want the time, freedom, and flexibility. And I always grew up hearing that stuff, but it never really set in until I became a mother. And my whole dynamic shifted. And I was like, you know, I don't want to touch the time clock. I want to be there for my daughter. And so that was really what the Freedom Guild was founded on, was family freedom and flexibility.
I love that. What do you think your biggest obstacle on this journey of being an entrepreneur has been for you?
I think probably the roller coaster ride. People always, especially when they first start out, are like, is it always this up and down? Is it always like this? And I have to say yes. I mean, after a decade in it, it's never going to be just easy. Right? It's always going to be the up and down. It's always going to be uncertainty. It's crazy. Things can happen at the drop of a hat, and you have to be prepared, and you have to have the tenacity and the wherewithal to make it through and know that you're not going to give up and you're not going to quit, and you have to be prepared.
And that literally just happened to me this past Monday, and you just never know what your day is going to bring. And
exactly,
you can have the most perfect day and have it in your journal and have the best mindset and you're in the best mood and you're knocking like off each to-do task, and then something just throws you for a loop and you're done. Or you need to like just rest and come out of it.
And it's like that meme that's like, you know, when you are always looking for an adult in the room and then you wake up and you're 30 and you are the adult. It's like there's no fallback. You are the boss. It's your responsibility no matter what.
Exactly. Oh my God, that's so true. I have to look for that. I haven't seen that in a while. What do you think your biggest motivator has been since you started the Freedom Guild?
My daughter, absolutely. 100%. I can say, you know, all the other stuff of like the flexibility and the vacationing and the time and the extra income and all of that stuff, but it all goes back to her. And I want to prove to her what is possible. I want to prove to her that there is a million different ways to make a living and that you can love your job and that you don't have to be miserable working for somebody else. I just really want to show her what is possible in life, and so she can really, truly, I know it sounds kind of cliche, but grow up doing whatever it is she wants to do and what makes her happy.
And she does great on those Facebook Lives. She loves making that appearance.
Yes, and she's so, I mean, as a parent, they're listening to you guys. Like, I told her I was so nervous about this other Facebook Live I was doing, and she was like, you got this, Mommy. Like, she was encouraging me, and it was the cutest thing. I know.
Did she bring you a treat when you were done?
No, but she told me I deserved ice cream.
That's so nice. Now, obviously, you have a crazy schedule. When you have downtime, what are your favorite? I know you love that bike, so tell us about the bike. And then what are your favorite self-care rituals? Like, do you love spa days? Do you love all the oils and the bath bombs? Like, what do you do for your downtime to relax?
Okay, so I'm really bad about taking downtime, but and I haven't been able to ride my bike because I broke my foot in Costa Rica. But
I forgot about that. Oh my God, you poor thing.
I took my first ride the other day, and I went a pretty mediocre 40 minutes. I was pretty proud of it, though.
That's good.
So I'm getting back into it. Yeah, I have my checkup tomorrow with my doctor, but I do love my Peloton. I honestly, I have to schedule my downtime, and my downtime is probably traveling. Like, I really, truly disconnect when I'm able to just get away. And so I'd say that's probably my number one most favorite thing. But I also have a couple self-care rituals that I just can't live without. And one of those, I think we've talked about this before, is the chiropractor. I'm a strong believer in chiropractic care. And then I've recently started loving my facials. And I didn't think that I'd be able to relax when it happens, but it's one of the most relaxing things. And I love getting facials now and taking care of my skin.
Oh, I love facials. I haven't had one in forever, but I've been recently researching all the spas here at different hotels for the fall, and I just want them all.
Yeah.
And it's so...
I mean, if my self-care budget could handle it, I mean, I would get massages all the time, but, I'm very particular about, what my finances go to, and then also the time. It's just, you have to take that time out.
And the time out you just took recently was, unfortunately, you hurt your foot, you poor thing, but you were in Costa Rica. So I would have to put this house in the show notes because it's amazing.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yes. So my family member, my uncle owns a house, a villa really, in Tamarindo, Costa Rica. I've gone back there twice, and it's just the most amazing experience. I will retire in Costa Rica. The country is just absolutely incredible. It's tiny compared to ours, but there's always new places to see. It's just absolutely beautiful. I can't speak enough about the people there. They're wonderful. And it's just amazing. So if you guys need a vacation, especially if you love the beach, look up Costa Rica. And then Kelly, since she'll put the show notes, this house that I go to is 10 minutes away from the beach.
It's gorgeous.
It's amazing.
I haven't been to Costa Rica in years, since my cruise ship and yacht life, and that was forever ago. And I just remember the people being so nice, and I think we've had this conversation before. And then, of course, the coffee. I was done at the coffee. I was like, sold. I need to go back. They have the best coffee.
I'm not a coffee drinker, but I will have a cup of coffee in Costa Rica because why not? It is so delicious.
Oh, it is so good. When do you think, or when can you remember, was the moment where you were like, this is why I chose this life. This is why I've decided to run this business and build the Freedom Guild? Was it a client? Was it like a specific moment? A breakthrough?
I don't know if it's been one specific instance, but I know, and people who, you've probably experienced this, but, all of, the hardships, just, oh, why am I doing this? But I think it's been a culmination of the people over time. Every time I help a client, every time someone listens to a podcast, every time someone asks me to come on, and speak because they love my content, it's just this little build up and little reminders that I'm like, oh my God, okay, I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be doing this. The world needs what I have to hear. And I don't think it was one big aha moment. I just think, because like I said, it's a roller coaster and you get so discouraged and you're just wanting to throw in the towel, and then something else good happens and you're just like, oh thank gosh, I'm getting through to somebody. So I just think it's the culmination of those little wins that make a huge difference in why you're doing this.
I love that answer. And I feel the same. It's always little things, or these little messages you get from somebody that you least expect, or, somebody that comes across this content that you work so hard on, you haven't heard anything. And then all of a sudden this one person messages you and it's so long and you're like, oh my God. One of those great moments.
It's been people like who you never would even know that are paying attention to you.
Exactly.
And you just get a random message one day and you're just like, this has changed my world. Keep doing what you're doing. And it's just like life-changing.
And it's so funny. I don't know about you, but I've gotten a couple on my website where, you know, we live online, like Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. And I get long emails through my website. That's where they come through. And I'm like, that's so crazy because usually it's on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah. Mine have all been mostly on Facebook, or I'll get like a random text message from, I have this college best friend who's a guy, actually. Like, most of my content resonates with women. And he sent me a message after I'd already been doing this like a year. And he was just like, I just want to say that the stuff that you're saying is just so amazing and you're doing such great work and to keep it up. And I hadn't talked to him in like 5 years, you know what I mean? Like, people just, you never know who you're inspiring. And most of the time people are too scared to say it. So just keep going.
That's so true. When do you think, what kind of advice would you give to somebody that's trying to get into the online space and kind of build a coaching program? What advice would you give to them?
So my number one piece of advice, and I will follow this and preach this until the day that I can no longer speak, is to remain authentic. You don't have to run your business the way that anyone else is telling you to. You don't have to have that fancy program. You don't have to be a certain way, act a certain way, look a certain way. When you stick to who you are and your authentic self, that will attract more people to you and your business than anything else, other than maybe like consistency and hard work. But being true to yourself is going to make your whole journey so much more enjoyable and attract the people to you that you are meant to work with.
That's the best answer. I love it. And it's so true. And you can see right through somebody online.
Right. People don't think you can, and people think that they can live this facade, but it's just not like that anymore. People crave authenticity, and they crave like wanting to like feel something and know that they're understood and know that someone else is that way or feels that way or is doing things that way. And when you are not living your truth and trying to be someone else, it just like shows.
Absolutely. Now, when do you think you're the most productive? Like, what's your schedule like?
So I really
typical day
explored that the last year. But my daughter and I just moved to about 30 minutes away, kind of out in the country. So my schedule's kind of been shaken up this last year. But I work best in the mornings. So I'm the first one to get to my office every morning. I get up. I don't really have a set morning routine. I do what feels best for me, but it always includes a little bit of stretching and getting my blood pumping, and then getting me and my daughter ready for work and school, and then leaving on my commute, saying hi to my puppies, leaving on my commute to work and dropping her off at school. I'm always the first one at my office around 7:30, 8:30 in the morning. And really it's just, getting my office set up, getting my emails checked, and then taking on whatever the day has. I usually take about 30 minutes to do my coaching stuff in the morning, and then about an hour at lunch to do my coaching stuff, along with in between my printing business. And then just like tonight, I normally have like a group coaching call or a one-on-one call or some emails to answer or some content to write for about an hour in the evening. But I usually get home at like 4 or 5, and then just spend the rest of the evening with my daughter or whatever plans we have, or her soccer.
I love that schedule. What do you listen to when you're on your commute? Are you a radio girl, or like you're all about music, or are you diving into personal development and listening to like all the podcasts?
So when I have my daughter in the car, I have Sirius XM radio, and she loves pop music, Taylor Swift, Ava Max, all that stuff. So I'm forced to listen to that stuff when she's in there. And it's kind of funny because I used to be a huge political junkie up until about 2 years ago when I realized that none of that stuff was serving me.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally used to be like an 80-year-old grandma listening to political talk radio until I was like, I gotta cut this out. It just makes me angry. So when I don't have my daughter in the car, I am not gonna lie, I'm obsessed with true crime. So I listen to different podcasts like Case Files or My Favorite Murder, or I do sometimes listen to personal development stuff.
Oh my gosh, I never knew that about you. That's so interesting.
Yeah, I love true crime.
Oh my God, that stuff scares me. I can't watch any of it.
It scares me too. It gives me anxiety, but it's just enough to be like, oh my God, that's so interesting. And then I'm like, okay, I have to quit because this is giving me anxiety.
Oh my God, it's so funny. One of my best friends, she always has talk radio on. I'm like, why don't you ever have the radio on? Because the kids will watch a movie on the DVD in the back, so like they can't hear it. And I'm like, I can't stand this talk radio. Why don't you ever put the music on? And then she just turns it off. I'm like, what
I know. I used to love it, but it's just not good for my energy anymore.
Yeah. Oh my God, especially now. And then the music, I go through waves. It was so weird. Like, I came back from LA a couple months ago. I was there for a couple days. And the whole drive home, it was almost 2 hours, I listened to podcasts. I've never done that. Like, when I'm driving on a trip, like, especially in LA, like, I need all the music to get me through that. And I didn't listen to any music. It was the weirdest thing. My body was just like, listen to Ed Milet. So I, like, listened to him the whole way home. It was so crazy. And I felt so good after that drive. And I was, like, in such a good, like, mindset when I got out of the car. I was like, maybe that's exactly what I needed. It was the craziest thing because normally I go right to the music.
I know sometimes, but it's just whatever energetic space you're in. Because sometimes I'm just like, I'm blaring music. I don't want to think.
Mm-hmm.
But if I really want a good story, I'll listen to one of my true crime. Or if I'm really feeling like blah and I'm unmotivated, I'm like, okay, I need someone to talk me up. And then that's when I turn on the personal development stuff.
I know. It's like we go through waves with all that. It's so crazy. I guess whatever you're craving for the moment, what you personally need. When you have a successful launch and when you have like the best client call ever and you just have like the best day, like what's your go-to celebration? Like how do you celebrate your little personal goals? Like even if you have like the best ride on the bike, like how do you celebrate that?
So I'm a huge, like the highest extrovert you could ever get. So I really I'm like 95, like something crazy like that percent extroverted. So to me, a celebration is not complete without like my people around. So I really love like planning dinners or brunches or whatever, even just like me and my best friend, like I call my best friend. So to me, my excitement is always shared. So I love planning, a dinner or a night out or whatever with my friends or, just being around other people that I love and sharing in that, or like having a dinner party at my house. I love to host. So I would probably say something like that.
And that brunch you just had looked amazing, and I can't wait to attend the next one. Can I please just hop on a quick flight?
Yeah, like, I have always, for the last 5 years, I've had such a tiny house and wasn't able to host anything. So now that I'm in a bigger space and more open space, I just love having people over and spoiling my friends and making yummy food. It just brings me so much joy.
Oh my God, that's seriously my favorite thing to do. Like, I love making homemade pizzas and like having the wine and just like girls' night. And I haven't done that in forever. So hopefully in the fall when I have my house, I'm going to like be doing all those things as well. I can't wait. Like, I love doing things like that. Like girlfriend night. It's the best. By the way, when you were talking,
so good for your soul.
I know. When you were just talking, I swear to God, my computer started moving, and I'm like, if we get an aftershock right now while we're recording,
oh no,
I'm all set with these earthquakes right now. And I had to look out the window and see.
You guys have had some crazy ones.
I know, it's so crazy. Now tell us what's going on. You have some new things coming out, and I want you to talk about your podcast and what's going on in the Freedom Guild right now that people need to know about.
Oh, how fun. Okay, so I just put out a podcast that I was super excited about, and you kind of touched on this, like, what would you say, to someone wanting to own their own business? And I did put that in there to stay true to yourself. But my last podcast episode was just that, I think it was around 7-ish, like, most important tips that I've gotten out of being an entrepreneur for almost the last 10 years. So super duper excited to just kind of like put that all out there for people, especially someone who hasn't been an entrepreneur that long, or who is wanting to become one. I think there's just super valuable tips. And then also for the fall, I've launched a new coaching program called Momentum Coaching. And it is really centered around getting people kind of out of their rut and getting them over their negative energy or some of these mental blocks that they have, and really into an energetic space where they're ready to take massive momentum towards some of the things that they want to accomplish in areas of their life, whether that be business, friendship, physical well-being, finances and money. So really whatever area that someone is struggling with, we're just going to amp them up for the rest of 2019. And it can be a 60, 90, or 120-day coaching program, whatever fits their needs best.
That sounds amazing. And I think everybody listening will really enjoy reading all the material that you've put together for that. So I'll make sure all the links for that are in the show notes, as well as your podcast. And I have a question. When you are putting a new program together, for example, this one, that Momentum, like what happens in your brainstorming process? Like, is it one day you wake up and you're like, oh my God, Momentum is what I need to offer these new women in this coaching service? Like, what's your process? Like, do you do brain dumps? Do you journal it? Like, when you know that you need to come out with another program, how do you go about that?
I'm kind of weird in the fact that I will not come out with something unless I'm like energetically ready. I know that's taboo for coaches, but it's not my sole income, so it's a little bit different than someone who is doing this full time. But I think that's also such a benefit to what I do, that it's my second business, because when I'm in it, I am totally 100% invested in my clients. I never really feel the whole burnout thing, because I won't do it if I'm feeling not in alignment.
Me either, yeah.
And honestly, like, it just, because of that, I think I'm lucky, because it just comes out of nowhere. Like, I just get an intuition or like a gut feeling that I'm like, this is what somebody needs. Like, I know there's somebody out there that needs this. Somebody is feeling stuck and down on themselves, and they need help and accountability, and someone to be there to help them rewire their brain and get out of this funk and teach them new patterns and a new thought process and new tools to be able to just, and I'm speaking for this specific program, obviously, but someone needs this. Like, someone needs help, and someone needs to like fix this area of their life, and I'm going to help them do it. And it just, like, I honestly was in the car at 6 a.m. half asleep on my way home from Colorado, and I just like popped right up. And my sister was like, what are you doing? And I started furiously typing on my iPhone notes. And I just, created a whole program within an hour of riding in the car, because I was like, I know somebody needs this.
That's so amazing. You know how I feel about the notes on my phone. I love it.
And honestly, I'm a huge like write it down person, but I've been using my phone notes like religiously lately.
Oh my God, always. I'm always in the notes section, because I'll forget if it's not either written down. If I can't write, like, I always have my phone on me, so I'll just like type away, and then I'll move it into my journal if I need to. Now, do you ever share the programs that you're ready to launch beforehand with your friends that are not in the space that we're in online? And what do they, like, do they get it? Do they, like, what's their 2 cents on it? Or do you not share it?
My best friend... I mean, sometimes I share with people, or I'm like, oh, I'm going to launch this, but 99% of the time, like, most people see it whenever I launch it, with the exception of my very, very best friend, Allie. And she has been, like, my rock and my biggest supporter since day one. She actually does some virtual assisting for me on the side. Her, and I would say probably Ashley, the admin of my group, I bounce some ideas off of her. But Allie, for the past almost 20 years, has been my rock and my best friend. And I walk through and brainstorm every single program with her, and she literally like gives me her perspective, her opinion. And sometimes I change the whole thing, and sometimes I'm like, no, I'm being called to this, and this is how it's going to be. Mm-hmm. But she always knows my thought process. She always helps me talk through it. She's named some of my programs before. She has helped me design and coordinate my whole retreat that I had in 2018. So she's really like my lifeblood, not just in life, but like in business too.
I feel like that's so important, and I'm very lucky. I have a couple of my friends that do those things for me, and I would die, literally absolutely die without them.
Well, yeah, and it's just, I mean, it's so important not to just have people like to talk to you, but someone who loves like helping you brainstorm and is completely okay with, you know, being in the background and just like seeing you go out there and do your thing. Like, she has no desire to do what I do, and she just is perfectly fine like helping me and helping me shape these things and then watching me just go do it.
That's so amazing. Now, can you tell us a little bit about your Facebook group?
Yeah, so the Facebook group is really just like a community of like-minded women who love to just chat about all things like life and business and positivity and really just anything that you really need in support of. Like, anything. It's just an amazing community of women who are on a path to better themselves and better their mindset, just to make a better life for themselves and for their families. And I just can't say enough for the women that are in that group. I mean, my group is small in comparison to some of the Facebook groups that you see out there, but I have almost 90% engagement. So I would say, and I keep a really close eye on like who's in there and who's, you know, participating. And it's just amazing to me, the community that these women are creating, because it's them too. You can't have a community without people who are engaging and participating. So I'm super proud to have a community that has like almost 90% engagement. To me, that's pretty incredible, especially when you're looking at quality over quantity.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And it's so hard now too. Like, all these Facebook groups have so many women in them, and you can't even see the content that's getting pushed out because there's just so many. And so when you engage, it's like you'll start to see everything in the feed. And I think that's so important. And then, you know, building community is like number one. I feel it's so important, especially when you're working online. Finding your tribe. You know, you and I have a lot of the same friends online, and we just kind of all connected over the last few years. And I feel like if I didn't have this little tribe of supportive women online, like, I just wouldn't be where I am. It's just we've created these great relationships where we're able to build our businesses and not have like the drama. And it's, you know, because that happens a lot online. And I feel like you and I are so lucky because we just have like such supportive females around us, whether they're entrepreneurs or stay-at-home moms or somebody working full-time. Like, it's just the same vibe across the board, and it's so great.
Well, and that's just what life is all about. Like, something that like sets my soul on fire is seeing two other people connect that would have never found each other had it not been, say, for the Freedom Guild community, the Facebook group. And they just are like aiding and encouraging and helping each other too. And it's just like, oh, it gives me goosebumps to see other women being brought together for the sole purpose of being in service to one another.
It's so important. Now, where can everybody find you online?
So on Instagram, my handle is just at Monica.Burgat. Burgat is my last name, even though it doesn't really sound like that. And then just on Facebook, Monica Burgat 2. And then my website is www.the-freedom-guild.com. And I think that, and destinationfreedomthepodcast.com. It's also my website, but I also have that to direct you right to the podcast, which is so amazing that you helped me with. And by the way, I recommended you to the lady, and I did a Facebook Live interview, and she messaged me afterwards and was like, I need help with my podcast. I strictly said, I cannot help you. I said, but But I know someone who can, and here is her name.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're so welcome. I think those are all my links.
Yes, and I'm going to put every single one in the show notes. For those of you ladies listening, head to the show notes, check out all of the links there, Monica's podcast, her website, her brand new amazing coaching program, and especially this Facebook community. And let us know how much you guys love this episode. You can tag us on Instagram and we will feature you on our stories. So I'll drop those links there. Monica, is there anything else you want to add before we wrap this up?
I don't think so. I just want people to know that if they're struggling or they need help or they're ready to change their life, that, always just reach out to somebody. I would love to have you in the group. It really is an amazing group of women. And I'm just really excited for these opportunities that keep opening up. And thank you so much for having me.
Of course, my pleasure. Thank you so much. And you guys be sure to check out the show notes. Everything will be there for you. And I will talk to you again soon. Thank you so much for listening to today's show. If you liked this episode, please share it with someone who you feel needs to hear this message. And don't forget to tag me at The Happy Workaholic on Facebook and Instagram so I can feature you on my stories. And if you have 2 minutes and listening on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, I would love it if you could leave me a review. Those messages mean so much to us podcasters, and they really help me create more of the content that you'll love. Want to continue today's conversation? It's simple. Head to Facebook and search for the Happy Workaholic Network Facebook group. Answer the questions and you're in. For more information on myself, coaching programs, weekly newsletter, and more, visit thehappyworkaholic.com. The Happy Workaholic Podcast is part of the iHeartRadio Podcast Network. Be sure to follow the Happy Workaholic Podcast on iHeartRadio or subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. I hope that your day continues to be happy, healthy, positive, and productive, and I'll talk to you again soon.